Good morning, everybody. It's Ben Nathan here on the 8th of Jan, wishing you all a happy new year. So, it's my first day back at the charts after a month off. Now, like most people, I take December off from trading, but that means when we come back to the charts in January, there's a little bit of back checking to do just to kind of really sink in and see what's happening with the markets. So, with that in mind, in this analysis, we're going to go through the major pairs and have a look to see what's worth trading at the moment as we enter into the new year. So starting off with the US dollar. Now at the moment, the fundamentals, so the long-term direction, is somewhat bullish. So we're expecting hikes in 2018 still. The Fed overall has a hawkish voting panel, and the consensus is that it's going to be quite likely we're going to see 2 more hikes throughout this year. So with that in mind, we're a little bit bullish on the dollar long term, but in the shorter term, we're certainly much more bearish after we saw a significant miss on the non-farm payrolls for January. Now, it's possible that we're probably going to see the Fed state that that's down to the holiday season, which to an extent is true, but a fairly heavy theme throughout the latter half of last year was we did seem to be missing quite a bit on the NFP releases, and that was starting to reduce the rate hike expectations. So it's going to be interesting to see where the dollar goes this year, but for now, in the short term, I'll be looking to sell this. Next one on the list is the pound. So we're fairly neutral on this. From a fundamental or long-term point of view, we're waiting for the next Bank of England meeting. So really looking to find out what the next move is going to be from the bank. So we have had more bullish meetings as of late, particularly towards the last quarter of last year. In the short term, we're a bit more neutral. We are expecting a cabinet shuffle today from Theresa May. Not sure yet whether or not that's going to have much of an effect on the markets. So that's why for now we're neutral. So we're waiting for more data. Moving on to the euro, so fairly neutral in the long term. Again, I'm waiting for the next ECB meeting. Now, up until the end of the year, I was fairly bearish on the longer term trading on the euro. You know, we're still heavily into QE, and it's still going on. So, you know, the currency is being eased, which is a sign of weakness. So again, I'm waiting to see what happens with the next ECB. I'm particularly interested to see where they see inflation going this year, and whether they see it getting anywhere near towards targets in the next couple of years or not. Short term wise, neutral, just waiting for some fresh data. We did see some decent data come from, I think it's Spanish and German jobs. Just waiting for something a little bit more euro specific at the moment before I start trading that currency. The CAD is a nice bullish currency. So in the long term, fundamentally, we've got a relatively hawkish central bank with further rate hikes expected. In the short term, we're bullish as well. We had a really strong jobs report on the Friday. Came out, I believe, 70k above expectations. So it was a real big beat on figures. And again, taking into account the holiday season, you know, it's pretty good to see job figures beating expectations. So nice and bullish on the CAD today. Next one up, we've got the Aussie dollar. So, you know, long term, fundamentally, the central bank, so the Reserve Bank of Australia, do prefer a weaker currency. They said they would intervene if they needed to, but there'd need to be some pretty extreme conditions to do so. So the bank are fairly neutral. They're playing patient, and they're just moving slowly with an optimistic outlook on the economy. Short term wise, we're much more bearish. So there's some iron ore forecasts which have hit the markets that have been pretty bearish. So that's taken its toll on the Aussie today. Next down, we've got the New Zealand dollar. So rates are on hold. We may see a hike in 2019, but the bank have also said they're also open to intervention if economy weakens when it comes to cuts. So very neutral in the long term, and in the short term, I'm just waiting for some fresh data before I start trading this. You know, we have seen the New Zealand dollar perform fairly well against other currency, but I'm just waiting for some solid economic analysis before I start investing any money into it. Lastly, we've got the Japanese yen, which is neutral. So rates are on hold. They are in QE at the moment. The problem we've got is while we've got this QE, we do continue to get fairly upbeat commentary from the bank. So fairly neutral in the long term and short term. Waiting for some further data. At the moment, the last data we had some relatively decent inflation type readings. I believe it may have been PPI, but the Japanese yen shrugged it off. And at the moment, it seems to be seeing more of an unwind due to safe haven outflows. Again, nothing that I'm particularly looking to trade right now on that currency. So just going to wait and see what happens there. So at the moment, the main currencies to be watching out for, we've got the Canadian dollar, which is fairly good to buy long term. Now, at the moment, I'm not seeing anything particularly bearish to trade that against. So long-term trades, there's nothing on my watch list. The main thing I'm interested in right now is the CAD long versus the dollar bearish and also the Aussie dollar bearish as well. So they're the ones I'm looking out for. So that's where we are for the start of the year. So I wish you all a very good profitable year trading Forex. If you do need any help or assistance, then do feel free to go to fundamentalforex.org. Now, there's a few different options that I offer for helping you trade better. The best thing to do is on the homepage, read the 3 statements and click on the one that best describes the way you feel at the moment about trading. If you do that, it's going to take you to the relevant page with the relevant offering in terms of a recommendation for taking your trading to the next level. Do feel free as well to have a look at some of our MyFXBook verified students. We are one of the only private coaching services in the world, if not the only private coaching service in the world, with MyFXBook verified students to prove it works. So do have a look at that, guys. And as always, Happy New Year and happy trading.